What is up, everybody? Matt here, back again with another collection video for today. Today we're going to be taking a look at my music DVD collection. We're starting off with this set for a very important reason, which you will learn here in just a moment. But this is my Cirque du Soleil anniversary collection, 1984 to 2005. And this is a really cool collection of some of their touring shows, some of their live shows. One of my favorite shows is actually in here, this one here, Quidam, from 1996. It's a really cool show if you haven't seen it. Midnight Sun, it's another great show, as well as La Nuba, which that was at Orlando. And that closed, and a lot of these have toured or were on TV or something like that. But a really cool set. Very happy I have it for two reasons. Number one, I love Cirque du Soleil. And number two, I can turn it on its side, and I can prop up the rest of the DVDs for this video. So, very cool. It's a dual thing. This is another one of my Cirque DVDs. This is Worlds Away. This is the film that was released in 2010, I want to say, maybe 2012, and this is like Cirque's greatest hits. It features stuff from Ka-Oh, The Beatles' Love, very, very cool film, all shot in HD, slow motion, a bunch of cool stuff they do with it, and if you've never seen Cirque, this is kind of a good entry level to it, because it gives you a good glimpse of everything, and really, to me, it's worth owning just for the Beatles segments alone. So that's that. Featured in this set is the show Verikai, and this is the documentary series that was about the creation of Verikai. This is a cool series. It follows a group of artists as they come into the show and work on it and develop it and everything like that, and it's pretty sweet. I think it was on Bravo originally in the United States. I think it was on something else in Canada, but really cool series. It's really fun to watch this and then Verikai because you can see all the work that went into it. Very, very cool series. I wish they would do this again. This was a really neat set. So those are the Cirque DVDs in my collection. Naturally, we're then going to move on to my Weird Al DVD collection. This is Weird Al Show. This is the series that was on CBS. Ran for only, I think, like maybe 13 episodes or something like that. It was not on very long, but it was a really, really funny show. Very much a supplemental to this next film, which is UHF. This is the Shout Factory 25th anniversary edition. I love this movie. This is the pinnacle of Weird Al comedy. I quote this movie almost on a daily basis, and sometimes you gotta grab life by the lips and yank as hard as you can. A lot of great special features on here, and yeah, just an amazingly funny movie. This this is the complete Al. This is a this was originally just a VHS tape, and again, Shout Factory, who did all of these DVDs, pretty cool, got a hold of the rights and reproduced it so we could enjoy it for decades on. It's just a good compilation of pretty much everything from the beginning all the way up to Dare to Be Stupid. Some Al TV segments are in there, a bunch of music videos, and some really funny, like, Spinal Tap-esque behind-the-scenes stuff of Al. I actually found this in a Dollar Tree. So it was only $1, and a dollar well spent, in my opinion. So that stack's getting pretty high. But enough of the weird stuff here. Let's talk about my Beatles collection. I don't know if this is going to be rare or what in now that Peter Jackson is going to be doing his version of Let It Be, but I'm very happy to have my VHS copy of it. This is the Beatles film Let It Be, obviously, and this is original VHS tape. Very happy when I found this, and yeah, very, very cool. It documents the Beatles creating the Let It Be album. At the time it was known as Get Back, and yeah, check out my videos on that if you want to learn more about Let It Be. But yeah, I don't know if this is going to... It's a pretty rare film now. I don't know if it's going to be rare when the Peter Jackson film comes out, if that's going to affect it. Another one we got here, The Beatles in Magical Mystery Tour. This is the original release of it on DVD by Avenue 1 DVD. It has almost a bootleg-esque quality to it. Like, that photo isn't even era-specific to the Beatles here. And yeah, it comes across as it looks like it was shot on a potato. It doesn't look that great. But yeah, I mean, Magical Mystery Tour, what are you going to do? Fantastic film for the most part, and then other parts are just absolute garbage. So there's that. Again, I'm a Cirque du Soleil fanboy, so I had to get the Beatles documentary film all together now about the show Love. This is an amazing documentary. If you're a Beatles fan, you need to see it. If you're a Cirque fan, you need to see it. And it's also just a really well put together documentary. If you're a fan of that type of stuff, it's cool. It's really neat to look into, and a great supplement to the show. Very, very cool. We've also got Across the Universe, which is the Beatles jukebox musical by the amazing Julie Taymor. This is the 2-disc collector's edition. I haven't watched much of disc 2. I pretty much just stay on disc 1. This is back when 2-disc DVDs were really a hip new thing, so yeah, but I really like this movie. As you know, kind of corny and comic book as it is, I do enjoy it. I think the interpretations of the songs are really good. I think it's a great film. It's fun. It's a musical. I don't know what people expected. Also got here Cheap Trick playing Sgt. Pepper live. Very cool DVD. Great album too. And go ahead and open it up for you here. Ooh, very cool. Again, this is just a really, really great concert and a fantastic film that features some really cool guest artists as well as the amazing Cheap Trick. And they add the ending of Abbey Road onto this as well, which is also pretty cool. Another Beatles-related film here, Yellow Submarine. Again, this is the 99 issue of the DVD. And at the time I got this, it was super rare. It's not rare anymore. But I have mixed feelings about this movie. Some days I really like it, some days I don't. But it's a cool little movie, and features obviously amazing music and great animation. And yeah, it's pretty special to have. I like this movie. I like it today. Ask me tomorrow. I might say something different. The Miramax release of A Hard Day's Night. Another great film. Beatles' first film. And, whoa. Not a lot on the back there. It's like, yeah, you want this, Hard Day's Night. But yeah, another great film by the Beatles. There. Very cool. Another one we got for here, The Concert for George. I did a video on this. Fantastic concert film. This features 2 cuts of it, as I said in the video. A theatrical cut and then the complete cut, which features everything. But very sweet, very nice documentary. Paul McCartney, The Space Within Us, by A&E, when they actually used to do arts and entertainment. This is a really cool Paul McCartney concert that they captured here. Very, very cool. If you've never seen Paul perform live, it's for people like me, this is probably as close as we're going to get, in all honesty. But this is a great concert film. He does a good show. It's very nice. My favorite Beatles movie ever made, Help. They Need Somebody, not just anybody. This is the second release they did of it on DVD with a lot of great special features. And missing scenes and restoration documentary and things like that. It's really worth it for the special features. I love this movie. It's like the Beatles meet the 60s Batman. It's so funny and so crazy. It's so great. I love this movie. Check it out if you haven't seen it. And the last piece of my Beatles collection, musically, is the great anthology documentary. Very cool. Has a whole disc of just special features as well as the complete program. I don't really know what else to say. It's a great set. I really dig the wraparound art. Very cool. Not a bad collection of Beatles music. But you can't live off just the Beatles. You got to have other music DVDs too. The Academy Award winning Bohemian Rhapsody. Fantastic film. Very cool. Not a whole lot of special features on the DVD special feature. I love this. This comes with one, and Across the Universe had a whole nother disc of special features. So, you know, whatever. But I really love this movie. I think it's really, really well made. Worthy of its Oscars. Yeah, very, very cool movie. Did a video on this as well, Rock and Roll. This is the 2-disc special collector's edition of this. I had a special order this one when I was in college. Oof, it takes me back. I remember showing this to people and they were just like, what the hell is this? Yeah, I did a whole video on this. Go watch it. But basically, short version, this is an animated rock and roll, fantasy, horror, sci-fi film. Very over the top, very 80s, lost for a number of years. This is the one that includes the original version of it, as well as the theatrical cut, and a whole bunch of special features. A lot of great stuff that they put in that set. Here's another great pairing, the Rocky Horror Picture Show and the sequel, Shock Treatment. What? Yes, there is a sequel to Rocky Horror, and it's called Shock Treatment. And it's, yeah, this was a cool set because this was right after they got the rights to do the re-release of Shock Treatment. So I was like, well, that's a good time to pick up Rocky Horror. So, yeah. This is pretty much, I don't think they've done another treatment of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like, every time it gets released, it's the same features and stuff. So maybe one day Criterion will do something with that. Wow, the wall. This is an interesting, this goes up there as far as interesting packaging. It's like, whoop, oh, it's all plastic and stuff. And then you get the film in this very sleek case here, very slim case with the flowers by Gerald Scarfe. And this is another kind of weird DVD because, like, when you click on special features, sometimes you know where they're going to take you, sometimes you don't. But I love this movie. It's so it's so avant-garde and so strange, and of course it's The Wall and it's Pink Floyd, and so it's awesome. So I love it. And still got some DVDs here. Sweeney Todd, Demon Barber of Fleet Street. This is the this is the HBO version with Angela Lansbury and George Hearn, who was the second Sweeney. The original was Len Cariou. But this is the touring cast, I believe. This is my favorite version of this. A lot of people really like the Johnny Depp, Tim Burton version. This is the one, man. This is really, really good. Because this was how it was. This was the original cut of it. And, this is just incredible. It's brutal. It's over the top. It's funny. It's dark. It's just, beautiful. Mwah! Love this movie. Good cut. Good cut. Also on The Wall, we've got Roger Waters' The Wall. Not a bad interpretation of The Wall. I do like the 81 version a little bit better, but still worth watching. Very, very cool to see the new interpretation of The Wall because I wasn't able to see it on tour. But, yeah, very cool like that. I wish they would do a reissue of The Wall at Earl's Court. That'd be nice. Heavy metal. I talked about the soundtrack. And this is the film. There's not really a whole lot going on here. But yeah, fantastic animated film. Great soundtrack. Probably the main reason you should watch it. But also just crazy, crazy animation. Very 80s. One of my favorite films of all time here, Phantom of the Paradise. He sold his soul for rock and roll. I plan on doing a video about this film, the soundtrack, everything. This is one of the greatest horror sci-fi films. Look at Beef coming there. I'm sorry, that was really funny. This is one of the best horror rock and roll films you will ever find. It's so good. It's so funny. The music is amazing by Paul Williams. This is another good one. Another great one by Shout Factory's Scream Factory division here. Absolutely stupendous. A really incredible cut. And great to have on Blu-ray. Colors really pop on it. But this was done by Brian De Palma, who did Carrie and The Untouchables and Scarface and a lot of great films. But this predates Rocky Horror. This was 73, I think. But they did a great job restoring this, adding a whole bunch of special features. And it's an incredible film. Great soundtrack, too. Check that one out. And we've got this one here. It's just black. There's nothing more black. It's just black. It's like how much more black could this be? And the answer is none blacker. But if you open it up, my jokes will make sense. It's Spinal Tap. Woo! I actually got this used, so it came in a generic DVD case, and I just took the labels off, and I was like, oh, It's just like the film. So there you go. Spinal Tap, great rock and roll mockumentary, great rock and roll documentary here. The Last Waltz, the finest of all rock movies. Yeah, Martin Scorsese and the band kicking it out in this amazing movie. Great stories, great music. What can you say? Beautiful film. Beautiful film. The wife doesn't think this one counts, but I think it counts. This is Maximum Overdrive, Stephen King's directorial debut, his only film that he ever directed, but features music by the amazing AC/DC. If it says it on the box, I feel it counts. Machines go crazy, they take over the world, all to the amazing sounds of AC/DC. Horrible film, great horror film, horrible but great. It's amazing. I love it. So that's it. Another great sci-fi music film featuring the amazing David Bowie, Labyrinth. Talked about the soundtrack in great detail. I'm not a big fan of this cover. I think I need to switch it out. I don't like that it has that on there too. But Labyrinth, one of my favorite movies of all time. Great music, great puppetry, great performances too. Just an amazing film, and one that is definitely worthy of collecting. All right, now we're getting into the weird stuff. So this is Kissology Volume 2. I know what you're thinking, Matt, why don't you have Kissology Volume 1 and 3? Well, this is the only one worth having. And here's why. So in addition to having Kiss interviews and concert footage and things like that, the big thing is right there. Let it focus, let it focus. Uh-oh, Kiss in Attack of the Phantoms, the movie from 1979. So Kiss made a movie in the 70s where they fought robots at a theme park, just go with it, and you couldn't bring it up in their presence. It was such like a touchy thing, and I always wanted it, and then they were like, it's coming out, and it's the European cut that was released in theaters. And I thought, oh man, I wanted the original TV cut because it features a little bit more of Ace acting stupid and things like that. But it's still an incomparable mess, and I love it. It's amazing, and that's the whole reason I have this set. But on top of that, it's got some really good stuff. This Tom Snyder Show interview, this is the one where Peter and Ace can't stop laughing, and Gene and Paul look like they want to murder them. Oh, so good. I love it. And it's got some really good stuff on here. It's got the Australia stuff, the Fridays performance, as well as the MTV Unmasking, some stuff with Vinnie Vincent and the amazing Eric Carr. This actually came with a really cool bonus freebie in it. Go ahead and open that up. It came with the ticket, a replica of the ticket that people were given at Six Flags Magic Mountain for Kiss and the Phantom of the Park. Ooh, very cool. There's nothing on the back. And a bonus DVD. I think my parents got this for me at Best Buy, so it came with a super special bonus disc. But yeah, the only reason to have it, that horrible movie, Kiss and Attack of the Phantoms. It's the Ed Wood of rock and roll horror films. Oh man, so good. Amazing. I love it. The Osbournes, what are you going to do? I do like the Osbournes. It's a guilty pleasure. As silly as it is, it is really funny, and there's some really funny parts in here. I have fond memories of watching this when I was in high school and middle school. This was a funny show. Just to see Ozzy just thinking around the house, I really liked that. That was funny. One of the best movie musicals I've probably ever seen is this one, Reefer Madness. This was a Showtime musical based on the very, very short-lived Broadway musical Reefer Madness, with an amazing cast: Kristen Bell, Nev Campbell, Alan Cumming, Anna Gasteyer, Steven Weber. Some really good people in here. This is a musical where they make fun of the old school scare film Reefer Madness, and it's incredibly funny. It's offensive. It's toe-tappingly tragic. I don't know what else you could say. It's a really funny movie and really over the top, but it's very South Park-esque. That's probably the best way I can describe it. It's really funny, and for some reason the DVD case is brown and it smells like chocolate. I know you can't smell it through the video, but I swear to you, it smells like chocolate. Not making this up. Great film. Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare, which actually played as a double feature with that Kiss film, Kiss Meets the Phantom, and this comes with the TV special, The Nightmare, which had Vincent Price in it as well. Very cool to see Alice and Vincent just kind of hanging out, all that stuff. Put them together, it's a great double feature. Welcome to My Nightmare was like the first concert film I ever saw, and it blew me away with how cool it was. Great capture of that tour and that show with Alice. Very, very neat. One of my favorite musicals of all time, The Phantom of the Opera. A lot of people are kind of split on this one. I think it depends on which you saw first. I saw this one first before I saw any stage version, and I like this version a little bit more. It's structured a little bit better. I like the interpretation of the songs. I love Gerard Butler as the Phantom. I love Emmy Rossum as Christine. It's a great film. I think it deserves much more praise than it got. It's really, really cool. I love this film. And I love the soundtrack. I got it on vinyl. I might do a video on this one day, but I like that movie. That's a good one. Here's one. The Penelope Spheris, I never know how to say that, classic, The Decline of Western Civilization Part 2, The Metal Years. This is the famous one, with Ozzy, Alice Cooper, Kiss, Megadeth, a whole bunch of great interviews in here that are really funny and terrifying at the same time. I actually got this in a set with Part 1 and Part 3, but this one is really my favorite. I love this one. I think it's great. If you've never seen this, it's just a series of interviews with heavy metal, legends now, but at the time, it was just a bunch of guys, and she basically documents heavy metal culture at the time, and it's really scary and funny, and yeah, I love this movie. Very, very good documentary. Here's a movie that is not good. It's not good at all. This is Trick or Treat. They don't look like this in the movie at all. And they're probably in the movie collectively for maybe about a minute. This is a movie called Trick or Treat, and it's about a kid who finds a haunted record that when he plays it, he becomes possessed by a dead rock star and monsters and things all around Halloween. I love that they use the crappy chiller Microsoft font there. What's more confusing about this movie, outside of these pictures that are clearly not them in the movie, is the back of it, which features behind the scenes pictures. Like, they're working on the monsters in the movie. This is behind the scenes stuff, and that's not part of the movie. That's just it. It is. I gotta give them credit in some regard. It's a heavy metal horror film of the 80s, which sounds amazing, but it just falls flat. It is not a good movie at all. But that said, it's a good movie because it's so bad. Like, again, it's like Kiss Meets the Phantom. I don't know. Gene Simmons must have a curse on him when it comes to making movies, because this was garbage. This was a horrible mess of a movie. But if you love the 1980s, if you love heavy metal, and you love obligatory cameos from Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne, this is the movie for you. Also, there's a scene in this movie where they're talking in the living room, and you can very clearly see the boom mic come into the shot. Oh, man. People paid money for this, and I'm one of them. Getting down to the end of the piles here. Bubba Ho-Tep. And not necessarily a music film, but dealing with a fantasy story of a music icon, Elvis, in a retirement home with a black man who thinks he is JFK fighting an Egyptian mummy named Bubba Ho-Tep. I saw this in theaters. My dad took me to go see it, and wow, it is an incredible film. Bruce Campbell, wow, amazing performance in this. He should have gotten an Oscar for it. This is just one of the coolest movies ever made, and it's on a shoestring budget. It's so funny and so over the top that you just have to see it. It was one of the first independent films I ever really saw, and I fell in love with it. I love this movie. It's so great. And yeah, Bruce Campbell as Elvis. What more could you want? Fighting a mummy. Yeah. Speaking of rock and roll fantasies, Six String Samurai. Vegas needs a new king. This is a... Wow, how do I describe this one? Buddy Holly doesn't die in the plane crash, okay? Elvis becomes king after the Russians start World War III. But then he dies, and then all of these guitar players are on their way to Vegas to become the new king. Buddy is one of them, and yeah, that's the film. It's a rock and roll samurai sci-fi fantasy film featuring music by the incredible band the Red Elvises. This is, oh man, love this movie, so good. And they were going to make 2 more, and they never did. It just kind of fell apart after that. But this is an amazingly cool, obscure film. If you haven't seen it, go watch it right now. I think it is available on YouTube. I'll see if I can put a link below in the comments. But yeah, this is an incredible film. Very weird, very funny, very action-packed. See this movie. You got to do it. Coming down to the last 2 here. Purple Rain, Prince, standard. Got to have this. It's it's just a crazy movie. I love this movie. It's so over the top, fantastic music, but ridiculous at times. But still very, very cool. I love this movie. It's kind of like the definition of 80s cool. And Prince, you know, I mean, what are you gonna do? He's the best. Last film I have in my collection here, one of my favorites, Interstellar 5555. This is Daft Punk. This is their animated film that they made. This is probably one of my favorite DVDs I have in my collection. This is a fully animated film in a anime style by Leiji Matsumoto. So it has that kind of 70s Captain Harlock, Robotech type vibe. And it's all Daft Punk's album Discovery. I'm probably going to do a video entirely on this because it's so cool that they did this. I remember seeing just the first 2 music videos on Toonami back in the day, and I was like, what is this? And then I found out it was a whole movie, and it took me forever to find it, a copy on DVD. So happy I did. This is another great artistic rock and roll film. Wow, that's a lot of DVDs there, but yeah. So that's my music DVD collection. Hope you enjoyed this 30-minute odyssey into the world of music DVDs. Do you own any of these? What are some of your favorite music DVDs? Are there any music movies that I don't have in my collection that I should have in my collection? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Woo!